My name is Peyman Sadarinia. I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon specialized in minimally invasive cardiothoracic surgery. One of my expertise area is endoscopic mitral valve repair, and one of the critical skills in endoscopic mitral valve surgery is working with long shafted instruments and looking at the monitor instead of looking into the wound. Many years ago, I've developed a simulation platform to train surgeons in endoscopic skills. And already we have trained more than 700 surgeons from around the world. And today I would like to share with you some of the tips and tricks for endoscopic surgery. So one of the first steps that you have to consider is how to put the needle holder on the needle correctly. I'm now using a regular needle holder just to show you something. If you put this regular needle holder at the back of the needle, in open surgery you still can stitch. If you put it like this, you still can stitch. So in endoscopic surgery, if you put your needle holder at the back of the needle, what happens that you lose control over your needle position very quickly. So if you put this into the patient and look at the monitor, your needle will rock and you lose control over your needle, and it will make suturing almost impossible. The other thing is, if you use not the point of your needle holder, but you go far in, this part will block what you're doing. So in endoscopic surgery, what you need to do, you need to use the point of your instrument. You put the needle holder at 2/3 of the needle, perpendicular with a bit of angulation. The other thing is, if you use a needle holder which is curved, the curve should be directed towards the end. So not like this, but like this. So the other tip is as follows. If you consider this part to be the annulus, or somewhere you want to put the stitch in and you want to come out. Normally what you do in open surgery, you hold your belly of the needle parallel to the annulus or where you want to stitch go in. Because if you put in and you hold it parallel, you come out in the same plane. But in endoscopic surgery, it doesn't work like this. It's totally different. So in endoscopic surgery, if we consider this as an annulus, and like open surgery, we hold the belly of the needle parallel to the annulus, and if we stitch, you come out in the leaflet. So the trick is that you stitch needs to go perpendicular to the annulus, and then you come out in the annulus. This is a bit counterintuitive, but that is something that you need to really realize in endoscopic suturing, that you go perpendicular to the annulus. This applies also for forehand position. This part is forehand, so if you go parallel, you come out into the leaflet. So you really need to go perpendicular. Next is that this suturing map depicts what are the most ideal needle position for every corner of the annulus of the mitral valve. This with a light that you want to do it with the least tissue manipulation, which is more efficient. If you consider the green part is backhand. So this is backhand. The pink part, what you see here, is regular forehand, which is like this, that is forehand. Then you have the blue one at this corner, which is reverse forehand. This part, which is a light pink, is reverse backhand. So you put the needle in backhand position, and reverse backhand is like this. So this is forehand position, And the reverse forehand is when the point of the needle points in opposite direction. This is reverse forehand. This is a backhand position, and reverse backhand is when the point of the needle points in opposite direction, like this. I've indicated also on the suturing map, this part of the annulus is just backhand. So you go perpendicular to the annulus and you come out in the annulus. This part of the annulus, as indicated on the suturing map, is reverse backhand. So this was backhand and this was reverse backhand. So you go in one go into the annulus. This is reverse backhand. This part of the annulus is forehand. So again, you go perpendicular to the annulus to come out in the annulus. This part of the annulus is reverse forehand. So normally you can do forehand, but if you go forehand, you cannot see the point of your needle. So if you go reverse forehand, like here, you can see the point of your needle, and in one go, you have the annulus. If you are left-handed, you can use the same suturing map and the same needle positions. The only thing that differs is semantic. I would say just load your needle as a right-handed, for example, backhand, but you hold it in your left hand, which becomes for you forehand. So here, the anterior part of the annulus, where I would say with the right hand is backhand for me, is for the left-handed is forehand. So it means that you put the needles also from the side of the right-handed, not the other way around. So the next is using the knot pusher. For this, I have already put a stitch. So the thread one end, I put a clamp and I give it to my assistant. The other, I have it in my hand. And what is important is if you are right-handed, you knot with right hand, so you have the instrument in your left hand. Before you start doing the knot pushing, what is important, the way your assistant holding this thread. Normally they hold it like this. And you have to go with the knot pusher, and you see this doesn't work. So what they need to do, they need to hold it freely, parallel to your other hand, and also in alignment of where you want to have your knot. What is also important, they shouldn't use too much traction, because you cannot push the knot down, and too little traction, it will also be impossible to push through the knot. So it has to be with a very light tension. So you have the knot pusher in your hand. The knot pusher has an eye, and you click the eye closed, and you put a knot below the knot pusher, and you push it down, and your assistant just to hold a very gentle light. You go in. What is important is not to go on the knot, but beyond the knot. So always the first knot is something that can come back. It doesn't matter, because the second knot, when you push beyond the knot, it will close the knot, as you see it here. So you go beyond the knot. So this is very important that you don't go towards the knot, but beyond the knot.